Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to do a beaded Picot cast on like you see on this Sunshine NT shawlette. This is not too difficult. We're not going to pre-string the beads. We're going to get beads that fit easily on our yarn, and we need to have a big hole in the bead. So you don't want to get the smallest possible bead. Here I use these teardrop beads. And here for my demonstration purposes, I'm going to use these really big beads and fat yarn. But you can use like say a size 6 seed bead on this fingering weight yarn and it'll work really well. So what we're going to do is make sure that we get a crochet hook that's small enough to fit through the bead, grab the yarn, and pull the yarn through the bead like that. So your crochet hook may need to look too small for the yarn, because if you had one that looked like the right size for the yarn, this is just a little one I have that has a big and a small hook on it. But if it looks like the right size for the yarn like that might, it probably won't fit through the bead. Okay, so that's the materials for doing the beaded Picot cast on. We start with regular slip knot on the needle, and we're going to make 4 stitches with the cable cast on. So for the first stitch, we just go into that slip knot, knit up a stitch, and then put it back onto the left needle. Snug up the slip knot again if you need to. Now you've got 2 stitches. Now we need to add 2 more, and we're ready to do the regular cable cast on. You need to have 2 to do it, because to make a regular cable cast on stitch, you go in between the 2 stitches with your right needle. Pull up a loop and put it in that kind of twisted way onto the left needle. Don't pull it tight until after you have your right needle inserted into it again, or it might be so tight that you can't get it in. Alright, so now I've got my 4 stitches cable cast on. The next step in the pattern says we're going to bring up the yarn like for a new stitch. And now before I put that stitch on the needle is where I'm going to go. I'm going to put my crochet hook through the bead, pull that loop for the new stitch through the bead, and now I'm going to put it onto my left needle. So now I have a bead stitch, okay? And now before we cast on more stitches, we're going to make the little picot. So we've got 5 stitches on this needle. So what we're going to do is we're going to knit this stitch, and all these instructions are in the pattern for the Sunshine NT shawlette. We're going to knit the next stitch. So we've got 2 stitches on the right needle, 3 on the left. We're going to pass this stitch over like binding it off. Okay. Now we're going to knit another one. We're going to pass the stitch over and bind it off. Okay. So now we've got 1 stitch on the right and 2 on the left. We're going to put that back. We've got our little picot. And now what we're going to do is cast on 4 more and do it again. So we'll repeat that over and over. So again, we start in the middle between those 2 stitches, and we're going to go 1, 2, whoops, split my yarn a little, 3, 4. We've got 4 new plain stitches, and now we're ready to make another picot. And you can rewind this and look at how to do that again. So you're going to keep doing that with this cable cast on in between these little bead picots, and see how the beads hang off the edge until you have the number of stitches you need for the shawlette.